Hello, my friends. Welcome to episode 80 of the Nourish and Strengthen podcast. Today, we're talking about how to stop the menopausal weight gain or the perimenopausal weight gain, whatever stage you're in. The same things apply. If it feels like, you're in your 40s, 50s, and your body is just holding on to weight, that stubborn fat, no matter what you do, especially around your midsection, maybe around your face, you're not alone. Okay. This perimenopausal weight gain, it's so annoying. It's so frustrating. It feels like it comes completely out of nowhere, but it's not inevitable. So if you are not to this phase of life yet, listen up because I've got some changes that you can implement as you get closer to this age. If you are in this phase of life, I want you to also listen up because we're going to talk about why this weight gain happens and what you can do to stop it and reverse it. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about why it's common for women to gain weight during perimenopause and menopause. There's 4 reasons that I've kind of narrowed it down to on like why this happens and why it's pretty common. First one, of course, is those hormonal changes, okay? Your estrogen and progesterone are going to decline. And as your estrogen drops off, it's going to fluctuate throughout perimenopause, but then after it fluctuates quite a bit, it's going to drop off. And that is going to cause more of that stubborn fat to shift to around your belly instead of your hips and thighs, your arms, your extremities, things like that. So if you are someone who used to carry your body fat there, as your estrogen goes down, you may see it shift to more of your belly, okay? Also, as we get older and as we go through menopause and perimenopause and we do lose progesterone and estrogen, it is harder for our bodies to handle stress, okay? So cortisol levels are going to go up, which also can cause increased belly fat, okay? We're also going to become less insulin resistant. So this means we are going to become more insulin resistant, which means insulin is not going to do its job as effectively in our body. Okay. So it's going to, as we eat carbs, typically our bodies are going to release insulin to help shuttle that blood sugar around to your body so your body to use as energy, right? But as we get older and we are more insulin resistant, that insulin is not going to do its job as well. And we are going to store more of those carbs as body fat. So there are things we can do about this though. I'm going to talk about those in just a minute. Those are just kind of 3 big hormonal changes you'll see in perimenopause and menopause that do oftentimes cause weight gain. Okay. Your metabolism may slow. Okay. If you are not as active, if you're not lifting weights, if you're not getting enough protein, which are common things for people to do around this time of life, your metabolism may slow down. Thyroid function might lower a little bit because we are losing those sex hormones as well, which has a down-regulating effect on all of our hormones. So if your thyroid function slows down, that's going to negatively affect your metabolism as well. Sleep disruptions and increased hunger. It's going to be harder to get a good night's sleep, maybe because of night sweats or waking up in the middle of the night due to increased cortisol. It can sometimes be harder to get a good full night of sleep, which is going to affect your hunger hormones. Your ghrelin's going to increase, your leptin's going to decrease. It's going to make you have stronger cravings. So that may factor into weight gain as well. And you also may have just some lifestyle changes that will kind of add to it. Like I said before, if you are moving around less, maybe because you're more tired, you have more joint pain, maybe you just have more of a lack of motivation and you're just kind of feeling kind of blah, that can affect your lifestyle and your movement, right? Also, it is super common if you are gaining weight due to these hormonal changes, you might try to lose weight in ways that you did in the past, like cutting calories super low, doing lots of cardio, and kind of just these extreme measures that can lead to binge eating cycles. And that's a super common thing I hear from people that are like, oh, I eat super low calorie all day and then or all week, and then I lose control on the weekends. This binge eating and this overeating, undereating cycle is horrible for your metabolism. So you might have related with, that was more than 4, but there were a bunch of reasons in there on why it is common for women to gain weight during menopause and perimenopause. The average weight gain, studies show that average weight gain during this 5 to 10 years of perimenopause is about 5 to 10 pounds. Some people won't gain anything and some people will gain quite a bit more. So that's the average. And not even just about weight, body composition can change. Even if your weight is not changing, but you're just like, I just don't feel the same. That hormonal shift can cause, and for all the reasons I just went over, can cause more fat storage and less muscle mass, right? So now you're like, oh my gosh, okay, I get it, but how do I stop the weight gain? So if you're gaining weight and you're like, I don't know what to do, I understand why it's happening, but how do I stop it? Here's what we're going to talk about right now. Okay. And it's a lot of the basic things, but it's so, so important. Okay. First one, ladies, you've got to prioritize strength training. Okay. Lifting weights is the key to preserving that muscle mass as we age and making that metabolism just run as fast as you possibly can, right? So I would aim for 3 to 4 sessions per week and really focus on pushing yourself hard in your weight training. If you can chit chat, if you're not making like kind of faces like you're pushing yourself hard, you can go harder. Okay. So I would aim for 3 to 4 sessions a week where you're doing compound movements. So that's things like squats, deadlifts, pressing movements, pulling movements, things where you're moving at more than one joint. So an example, in a squat, you are hinging or you're bending at your knees and your hips. Does that make sense? Now compare that to a leg extension where you're sitting in a machine and you're only bending at the knees. Okay. That is a compound movement versus more of an isolation movement. Okay. So both of them definitely have their place in a good program, but you do want to focus on compound movements. Okay. And more muscle, more calories burned. Okay. Making sure you're prioritizing strength training is going to help with insulin sensitivity. It is going to help boost natural testosterone levels. It is going to help your metabolism. It's so, so key for this stage of life. Okay. Number 2, eat more protein. This is huge, you guys. Protein and lifting are what are the secret sauce. They are the key. They are the secret. They are the trick to maintaining muscle as we age. If you do these things, you will be fine. Okay, you will be fine in the muscle maintenance category. Eating more protein is also going to help you stay full longer. Okay, so I would aim for about 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Okay. So if you weigh 150 pounds, maybe go for about 120 grams of protein. Get most of that from lean meats, your dairy like Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, eggs. Protein shakes are great. Things like that are going to be awesome for helping you get in enough protein. Okay. Number 3, focus on your insulin and blood sugar. This is really important, you guys, because like I mentioned, as we get older and as we lose those sex hormones, you are going to become, I always say the wrong thing, you are going to become less insulin sensitive, more insulin resistant. I always say that backwards. I say the wrong thing. So you're going to become less insulin sensitive. Insulin is going to have a harder time doing its job. So how do you combat that? Focus on fiber-rich, whole foods, clean foods that are less processed most of the time. Okay. Another thing you can do to make sure you do is pair protein or fats or pair protein with fats and carbs. Okay. Because that protein and fat is going to slow the digestion of your carbs. And that's going to help just kind of moderate your blood sugar spikes. Okay. Blood sugar after meals increasing is totally, totally normal. But pairing it with some protein and or some fat is going to be really, really helpful for managing insulin and blood sugar. Okay. Number 4, really focus on improving your sleep and lowering your stress. Again, I know this is one of those things that's like, yeah, but it's so important, you guys, so incredibly important to really focus on getting 7 to 9 hours of good quality sleep a night. Focus on reducing your stress levels, reducing your cortisol with daily walks out in the sunshine if you can. Also doing something that can just kind of ground you, whether that is meditating, journaling, deep breathing, doing something fun just for you. These things are really, really important. Also, look at your caffeine intake. Cut it off after about 2 p.m. and really focus on creating a calming environment in your home as you're getting ready for bed. Again, super, super important. Tip number 5, incorporate more NEAT. That stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And that is just your daily movement outside of your workouts. Walking around, stretching, talking with your hands, standing more often, moving around your house, going to a store and walking around, just things like your actual movement outside of your workouts. So 8 to 10,000 steps is kind of a common target, but what I would say is track your steps, see what you're typically getting over the course of a week, and bump that total up by 1 to 2,000. See if you can do that. Okay. What you want to do is you want your step target to be something that you do have to think about, okay? If you're getting 5,000 just throughout your normal everyday life and you don't have to think about it, I would bump it up a little bit to really kind of push yourself to try to be a little bit more active than you currently are being, okay? Tip number 6 is be mindful of alcohol and processed food, okay? Alcohol is a toxin. It is a poison to our bodies, and it should not be included in a healthy perimenopausal diet outside of just moderation and occasional uses, right? It is going to slow your metabolism. It is going to add empty calories to your nutrition. And same with ultra processed foods, guys. I am a big believer in 80-20, 90-10, focusing on whole foods most of the time, but getting in some of those foods that you love that just keep you mentally happy. Your treats occasionally, your chocolate, your whatever your goodies are that you're just like, this is not healthy, but I just love this. For me, that's usually ice cream or cookies or something like that. I'll have a couple bites of ice cream every single night because that is my happy treat. I love it every single night. I pull it out, have a few bites and put it back. And when you take off those good food, bad food labels, and you can have whatever you want in moderation, it makes you less likely to binge on it. So just be mindful and moderate in those foods, okay? Whole nutrient dense foods 80% of the time while still allowing a little bit of those fun foods to keep you happy, right? So I want to touch just a little bit on the mindset portion of this, okay? Because it is weight loss, especially in our 40s and 50s, is a huge mind game, really, really big. So I want you to ditch the diet mentality, okay? That extreme calorie restriction that might have worked for you in your 20s, but it is not going to work for you anymore. I promise you. And the more you think about like a diet or things you're cutting out of your nutrition, it is going to not feel sustainable, and you're going to be so much more likely to throw in the towel, give up, see yourself as a failure, and think that this isn't working for you, okay? Focus on balance and consistency and what you can add to your life. Add strength training, add fiber, add fruits and vegetables. And these things will help your overall life balance so that you can see results and just feel better, okay? Track your progress too beyond the scale. So instead of just looking at scale and even measurements, look at your energy levels, your strength, your sleep quality, how good you're feeling throughout the day, your patience levels with your family and your children and your spouse. These things are huge markers of progress, but you can't really put a number to them, right? So just take note of them. And if you notice yourself getting better in these things, that is a huge sign of progress, okay? And then in the end, just give it time, guys, and be patient, okay? Weight loss is a little bit slower as we get older, but you know what? That's okay. That's okay. As we get older, I feel like we kind of lose some of that urgency, or at least I hope we do, okay? I hope we can lose some of that urgency and realize that this is a long game, and we are not in it just for some quick fix, fat loss in the next 6 weeks kind of situation. We are here to be healthy. We're here to thrive. We're here to feel confident and feel our best, right? If you need help with this, you guys, if you need help with weight loss in perimenopause as our hormones are changing, you're not sure what to do, maybe nothing is working for you, I want to encourage you to reach out. I'm going to put a link to our call calendar in the show notes. Just book a call with me and my team, guys, and we can talk you through tips, how we might be able to help you reach your goals. I would love to do that with you. So, guys, remember, your body is not broken. It's just changing. And when you work with it and with your changing hormones instead of against it, your weight loss is going to become easier and more sustainable. So hopefully this was helpful to you guys. I will see you guys next week.